Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made the bone armor for my Harrowhark cosplay from the Locked Tomb book series. Even if you haven't read the book, I still think this is a great project for Halloween or any other sort of skeleton-y or spooky occasions that you might have coming up. This is a pretty simple project made out of stuff you can totally find at the craft store, so let's get started.
Step 1. I'm taking my bustier and covering it with blue tape so I can draw the pattern on top of it. You can see here I also covered the cups, but I found it to be easier to kind of just freestyle making those pieces, so you can skip that. I also taped some paper to the bottom of the top because I want the ribcage to extend past the end of it. I measured about where I wanted the ribcage to be and sketched it out with a pen. Then I used a Sharpie to draw out the ribcage on the bustier. I followed the cover art as a reference image, but luckily it's bones, so they can be a little weird. Then I carefully cut it out. I left the tape pattern on top so I could try it on and make sure it all looked okay. Once I was happy with it, I peeled my tape pattern off and transferred it to 2mm black craft foam. It is important that it's black. I used an X-Acto knife to cut it out. Then I got to rip the tape off the foam bones, which was very fun. I laid out my ribcage over the bustier to check the shape, and I thought they were too thick, so I just cut some excess foam away along the edges. Much better. Then I took all my ribcage pieces and laid them out on white craft foam to create a duplicate ribcage. I traced it in pen and cut it out. Now I'm going to start attaching the ribcage to the top. Looking in a mirror, I added very small dabs of hot glue just to hold the bones in place. If you want to just use hot glue, you can, but I don't trust it, so I hand-stitched all the foam down. I wasn't very neat about it. I used very long and chunky stitches, but I think it'll definitely make the cosplay hold up better. Then I did the same steps with the bra cups, only instead of tape, I just held down the pieces of foam, sketched on a design, and cut it out. The cup pieces also got copied onto white foam. Then I repeated the same hot glue and hand sewing process as the ribs. Here's what it looked like on the inside, kind of a mess. Next, I put my bustier on my mannequin and wrapped it in plastic wrap. If you don't have a mannequin, that's okay, you can just use a pillow or something similar. You want it to be in a curved shape roughly the size of you. Here is where the white foam pieces come into play. I pinned down all the foam copies to their black counterparts on the mannequin. Then I used a hairdryer on the highest setting to help the foam curve into place. Usually I would use a heat gun, but I didn't want to accidentally melt the plastic wrap. To give the bones some more 3D shape, I'm going to put some foam clay on top and use sculpting tools to give it a realistic texture. I have water on hand to help the clay stick to the foam. I dipped my fingers in water, got the foam wet, and just laid down the clay and smoothed it on. I used this spoolie brush and rolled it over the foam to make it look natural. I also took sharper tools and poked holes and made gouges in the foam clay for some battle damage. Then I stuck pins into it to hold its shape while it dried. Using white foam clay on white craft foam does make it a little difficult to see. Once it was dry, I removed the pins and took it off the mannequin. Now it's time to prime and paint. To prime my bones, I'm using Plastidip since it's flexible. I heated it up in a bucket of warm water to help it apply better. And now to turn all my lovely white bones black. You can buy white Plastidip, but it kinda sucks. Black just works better. Once the primer layer dried, I hit the pieces with some white spray paint. I'm doing my best to keep the pieces in their curved shape. Then everything got a coat of satin finish clear. Plain white bones don't look very good, so I used oil paint to give them a wash of color. Usually for weathering I use brown, but I'm using dark gray for lots of contrast. Just brush on your oil paint, which looks very scary, and then wipe it off with an old cloth. It will leave the paint behind in the gouges and cracks. You can do this with acrylics, but you have to work a lot faster because it dries quickly. Then one final clear coat to seal in the oil paint. Now to attach it all together. The reason I sewed the black foam to the bustier is because gluing foam to foam is a lot easier than gluing foam to fabric. I'm using contact cement, which is a construction adhesive, so it's super heavy duty, but if you don't want to invest in a whole can of that, hot glue will work. I put mine into a squeeze bottle and I used a chunk of craft foam to spread it on. With contact cement, first of all, work outside because it's super fumy, but spread it on both pieces of foam you need to stick together, let it dry down, and when it isn't shiny anymore, stick it together for a super strong hold. It dries really fast, so once you can't really smell it anymore, it's ready to wear.
Thank you all so much for watching. Harrow is definitely not a complete cosplay, but I really just wanted to share this method of making bones because I feel like it is an accessible and great place to start if you're new to working with foam. If you end up using this tutorial, tag me on Instagram so we can cry about the books together. We can do that. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!